Hey everyone, welcome to today's session. Quite often when you develop a Power BI project, in this data project, you may have many pages. Each page will contain different analytic capacity, but there will be something that always constant. For example, the header, the title, and most importantly, you may have a branding things which contains, for example, a URL of your website. So in this case, we have this bottom right-hand side, you can see we have our website and also the company name. So it's been registered over the bottom of site across every pages. If accidentally you have it wrong, you will have it wrong on every pages because you didn't realize until you finished the developing. So right now we have 7 pages across the bottom. They carry the same text box with an URL embedded inside. What happened is the URL is wrong because when you click the URL, it directs you to nowhere because there's a misspelling, a missing letter E in the between. So once we have that E in the place, correctly placed, the website is able to render. So today we're going to work out how to swap and make change to this text box for every page just in one go, just like you are swapping content in the text file. So in order to do that, you need to enable a new project file format for your Power BI. So right now I'm just using a simple PBX format. So in order to do that, make sure that you're going to back to here, check your settings, because there's settings that you need to enable. For example, in the preview feature, ensure that you have the Power BI project pbip save option enabled. You can additionally enable this too, is not a must, but for the first one, the pbip, you need to check that. Once you have this done, then the next step is open your PBX file and also save that as a new format. So let's just save this in the desktop. In order to do that, we create a new folder for this project. Let's just say project 1. And then we get into the folder, we're going back to here and change that to the pbip and save that. Now it's saving, we'll instantly know what's the change has been done. It's not that straightforward, but if you look at the header, very clear. Now this pbix is gone. Right now we're saying that as a project file. So under project, we have some structures. For example, we have this header, file, report, and semantic model. What it does is we can clearly communicate that by just going to the project file. So under the project file, we're not only seeing one document, we're seeing multiple documents. Some are included in some folders. So we have a report folder, semantic model folder, and also pbip. Now you understand pbip is more like a pointer. It's like a directory. Once you open the pbip, it will tell you I'm getting the data from the folder of report and also the semantic model folder. Under each folder is just a register of metadata about the report. For example, the size of your visual, the visual name, and position of the visual. In the context for the semantic model, it will register, like say, table relationship, expression, measures, model, and all sorts of things. So you can see it segregates things in several components. Now let's go back to this project file, and we just save that once, we close it. Because like I said before, we want targeting the text box and swap the content underneath that. So we need to find a way to, I'm able to use Control F to find it and also swap everything that has been repeated in the wrong way. So what are we going to do here? We're going to use a proper IDE, which is VS Code. So here, let's just enable that VS Code. What VS Code does is running on the folder and also able to help us to identify the thing that we want to swap, for example, the project, right? So under the project file, you can see it's kind of retrieve everything, but most importantly, there's one called git ignore. What this does is, in case you want backup your project, Power BI project in a cloud or in any like a Git management system, this git ignore will tell the system which file I don't want backup. So one is the local setting, which is your Power BI. When you develop that on your own PC, there's some settings being inherited. Second is the cache. What is cache does? Because we know that a Power BI project, you have your report, right? You have a semantic model, but also you have your data. Data is after you load, everything is being ingested into the PBIX file and make this file size bigger and bigger. That's because you have the data. If we get rid of the data, all of this metadata and the report and semantic model will be very, very small because it's just text-based things. For example, in this semantic model, the JSON file is called nothing. You can see this is just the length and just text. Text is cheap and safe. So that's why when you try to upload, do a version control of your Power BI project, do I ignore, most importantly, the cache file? Cache file doesn't matter because once you get the table connections, which means how the table going to be ingested from the source, once you have that metadata information, it doesn't matter if you have data or not. Whenever you open the file, you can always get a refresh and have the data ready. So that's why it's being ignored. And most importantly, you can't have the data in the GitHub because GitHub is not designed to back up your data. Okay, let's just ignore that for now. And what we need to find is we want to find a visual text box under the page and with the content with the wrong URL. So we're going to the report folder, and under the definition, there's pages. If you go into pages, you can see it has some random code. That's because it doesn't resemble what we have over the bottom for the 7 tabs. So for the first one, if you open the pages JSON, you can see that's one of the page name, remember? And this one, if we go into the page, that's the row context. And this one, the page, filter context. So let's just count how many pages we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which means I have 7 pages being registered on this text format. So what we're going to do is we're just going to randomly go into the first one and check the visual, and first one, open the visual JSON. Fortunately, we found that the text box, and also this is the wrong URL, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to either just add it here, make it right. But I know there will be several occurrence of this wrong address. So I need to use the finding feature. So what I do is just highlight content, and we just copy. And then we're not going to swap that just in one visual or one page. We're going back to the page and right click, find in the folder. And then I just paste what is wrong. I paste what is wrong again. I just fix the wrong with an additional letter E. Now it says, okay, I found 7 instances. What are we going to do? So we're going to use this little button and say replace all. 7, I'm going to replace with the new one, which is the letter E inside, replace. Once this has been done, let's just save this, Control S to save this visual, close. And then we're going to close this one. So now this has been saved. Now we can use this pbip to open the project. Let's see how it goes. Looks like Microsoft has updated its opening animation of the Power BI, which is very good. Now it's loading the file. Let's just wait and see if we have the footer changed correctly. Okay, the page is rendering. Let's close this, Let's click once, click second times. You can see the letter is coming back. We hit this URL, it directs us to the correct pages. If we minimize this, going back to another page, check that. So page. So that's how you do a bulk change of a certain object, and you know what object you're doing. Right now, we're targeting a URL arrow in the footer for every pages. So what we do is we make sure we enable the project file feature in the Power BI settings. And second, we save our current PBX file into the project format, and then we're using the IDE tools to help us find the wrong content and swap with the right one. Okay, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any doubts, just leave the comments below and make sure you hit the subscribe button to have more Power BI knowledge and shared. See you guys in the next one.